Hi, I'm Safi. I talk to researchers about what drives them and what they're passionate about. What's your name and what are you currently studying?
My name is Saskia Behrens, and I'm a first year PhD student in the Department of Celtic Literatures and Languages at Harvard.
What got you into this field in the first place?
When I was a child, my dad would always read us stories, so I've always been interested in literature. So initially, I came to Scotland to study English literature because I wanted to study English literature in an English speaking country. I'm from Germany.
Mhm.
But as time went on, I accidentally, I took some classes in Celtic studies and I didn't know what that was. But then I immediately really loved it because it's a smaller field than English.
Right.
So it's easier to find gaps in the research.
Mhm.
And then I've stuck with that ever since.
What's your process when you're trying to learn something completely new?
Yeah, so if it relates to something for my degree, so if it's related to Celtic studies, then I'm really fortunate in the sense that my department is by nature very interdisciplinary, so everyone does vastly different things. People come from different backgrounds. Like I have a literature background, other people have a linguistics or history background. So there's
Mhm.
a lot of scholarly exchange in our department that makes it easier to learn something new just by talking to people and like benefiting from their expertise.
And if it's something completely out of your domain, how do you approach that?
So what I've been really enjoying in my first year is taking classes in departments that have nothing to do with my own. So I've been infiltrating other departments. It gives me access to a lot of people and their expertise
Right.
and professors in those departments that I've started talking to. So I think it's just really helpful to build a network like this.
Right.
And then you know what people to go to and whom to ask about these things, even if it's not related to your field at all.
How do you come up with new ideas and keep your creativity alive?
The most important thing is that I love what I'm doing. So I never take it for granted. I'm so happy to be here. And it's a privilege to study what I love, right?
Mhm.
And to do that every day. Just by being super passionate about it, I think that helps to stay creative and to keep doing the work that I do. And also, it's good to sort of keep the momentum going
Right.
because my schedule is so busy.
Mhm.
And that way, even if I have just an hour to spare, I just keep working. That way, like the creativity just keeps flowing.
Right. Which single habit do you think has contributed most to your growth?
I think my curiosity, because I'm never satisfied to just learn one thing, because my what I do is so interdisciplinary. So by nature,
Mhm.
I need to get into these different fields that I have had never access to, and that way I get sort of a broader insight into a
Right.
lot of different fields like that.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in all these
Yeah.
connections that you
Yeah.
wouldn't see on first glance. But
Right.
even across times or across cultures, there are so many similarities. And that's so
Absolutely.
fascinating.
Yeah. How do you navigate the balance between working hard and working smart?
Okay, so I think they relate to each other because I think you need to work hard first, and then after that, you can work smart because you need to get that foundation.
Right.
But it also depends what it is that you're working on.
Right.
So, because there's so much to do, there's never time for all of it. So you do have to work smart to some extent, but also working hard beats talent, right? So you have to kind of do both.
Right.
But like especially because I study so many languages,
Mm.
and with that, it's mostly working smart because there are just different approaches that work for different people. So I know what works for
Mhm.
me and how I learn languages, and this is when I sit down in my own free time and then I work the way that works best for me.
Mhm. What drives you to keep learning even when things get challenging?
I think that ties in with what I said earlier that I'm just really passionate about what I do and I love doing it.
Right.
And also the fact that I'm surrounded by other people who feel the same way. Everyone's
Mhm.
just like in my department, everyone's incredibly
Mm.
passionate about it and so enthusiastic about it.
Right.
And that way, dealing with medieval manuscripts. And I think if you want to do something as niche as this, you need to be
Right.
really, like, you need to be a bit crazy and passionate about it.
What's the best advice someone has given you?
I think it's to never be the smartest person in the room and to be brave enough to step inside a room where you know that you're not the smartest person, like by far, because that way you can keep learning like that.
Right. What are the primary sources of funding for your research?
Yeah, so I'm getting full funding, so I'm very fortunate that I don't need to worry about that.
Okay.
That is automatically given by being admitted to a PhD. But then for research in the summer that we have to go to, we also have external funding bodies that we can apply to. So I applied to some of those,
Mhm.
and that enables me to do some research in the summer.
As a supervisor, and how have they influenced your academic interests?
So it's a bit different in my department. We're not being given one specific supervisor.
Okay.
We currently have 3 professors in my department, and as soon as we graduate to after the exams, then we can pick a supervisor panel. It can be anyone in the world. Right now, I don't have that, so I just have these 3 professors.
How do you typically meet new people around campus?
That's also difficult because my department is so small, so it's just the same 5 people that I see every day, and we're a bit secluded and tucked away in our little house. But by taking courses in other departments, I meet some other people who are taking other courses. I've taken courses in linguistics or Latin, and that brings in people from different degrees that, like linguistics, that I wouldn't normally meet by just sitting in my department like that.
In what ways do you think your research will make an impact in this world?
It's more smaller but also meaningful insights into humanity as a whole. I think because we're studying these manuscripts from the Middle Ages, and that gives a lot of insight into how humans behaved back then, and how essentially humans are still the same. Like not much has changed.
Really?
Like across time and across cultures, everyone's just fundamentally
Wow.
similar.
Yeah.
And that's just really fascinating if you're reading a manuscript from the Middle Ages and you see little doodles in the margins or little notes, and you feel like these scribes, they were also just humans like us, you know?
Right.
And that's just valuable insight to get. And then also because there are so few people that study what we study, I think it's also really important to sort of keep that knowledge,
Right.
because it might get lost otherwise if no one's doing it. There's still a lot of manuscripts that have not really been studied like that before.
Thank you so much for your time and perspective.